Hello everyone, it's Jennifer and thank you for joining me today. I have had this design in my head for the longest time because I've had these cool bead caps in my stash for the longest time. Look how tall they are. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And it takes a special bead, and I've been waiting for this special bead to come across my desk, and here it is. These are bicones, and I got these in my Christmas in July kit from Danielle Wicks, and you can find this in her Etsy shop. And I did another video, I'll put a link to that video, where I used some silver silk and I used one of the big crystal drops from the kit, as well as one of the 3 spools. She included 3 full spools of Soft Flex craftwire 22 gauge. There's a green, there's this blue, which we're gonna be using later, and also a magenta. For this one, I went and grabbed my 20 gauge vintage bronze. And I was gonna actually try and use these beads with a copper too, but I don't have 20 gauge copper. So I will be ordering some 20 gauge vintage copper from Soft Flex. Love the wire. It's a dead soft wire, so then it's easier for doing your wire wraps. And I chose wire wraps with this one. I don't know why. I do gravitate towards wire wraps. And I see a little one's kind of poking out a little bit there. I do gravitate more towards the wire wraps just because I'm more comfortable with the wire wraps than I am simple loops, but you can by all means use simple loops. At last check, she did have some of these Christmas in July kits available. It is Saturday, August 26th, and so be sure to check out her Etsy shop. I will put a link in the description for the shop. So these are what I have left. I'm going to be doing another project using, you guessed it, some Soft Flex, and I'm going to use that as a core and do some wire wrapping using the 22 gauge in blue from the kit as well. So we'll go ahead and put those off to the side. And yes, I normally always work from the spool, but this is the new spool, so I was having a hard time with it. So I went ahead and just eyeballed and cut some off here. All right, so what else do we have? Well, we have some chain because I think I'm gonna use a chain extender on this. And I have my scraps in here as well. So I didn't realize I tossed all my scraps in here too. I do have a little 5mm jump ring for the lobster clasp. You can wire wrap directly onto your lobster clasp. However, if your lobster clasp fails, which sometimes they do, the best of the best fail, you have to redo that section, and sometimes that's just not always the best way to do it, especially if you're going to be giving it away or selling it. This is the little stopper or the little spacer bead from that bead strand, so I'm going to save that. Okay, so I already have done up a few, so I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's either going to be doing 1 more or I'm going to have to do 2 more. Just depends on the length. So the first thing I want to do is I grabbed about, this is 8 inches, so this is about 4 inches. Yes, I'm gonna have some waste. I don't like waste, but we're gonna have some. All right. Now the first thing I wanna do is I wanna come down about 1.5 inches, because if you look, I used some larger loops. So I'm gonna come down about 1.5 inches and get that 90-degree angle bend. Going to come down a halfway in my round nose pliers. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and form that over, rotate, and push to the back. And then I'm gonna go ahead and center that just like so. But before I start wire wrapping, I need to attach it. So I'm just gonna open it up a little bit. Then I want to see, let me get this all out of the way. I wanna see, so here's the front, and here's the side, so it's going opposite direction. So I want this one to be on the front like so. And what's the front? The front to me is where the wire wrap starts. So that's where the wire wrap is going to start. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. For me, I'm just kind of weird that way. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the tip of my chain nose pliers, and then I just kind of lock it in place, and then I rearrange my chain nose pliers. I'm gonna come in with bent chain nose pliers and give it 3 good wraps. Okay. And push to the back. Okay. Now I can trim it off and then tuck in that bottom, but sometimes when I tuck in the bottom, since there's nothing up against it, it ends up going a direction I don't want it to go into. So what I do is I just leave it like so, and I'm gonna add, I have these little tiny bead caps too. I'm gonna add a little tiny bead cap, those cool bead caps, my bicone, okay? Then I'm gonna do it the exact opposite on this, or the exact opposite on the same side here, so that it looks like so. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love all the colors together. Then I'm gonna go ahead, and the front is facing that way, so I'm gonna go ahead and start my wire wrap loop here and come in about halfway. And if you can't get your round nose pliers to go all the way up against, you see how it's not totally flush? That's okay. You'll true that up when you rotate your wrist. See how it's really off? But once you rotate your wrist and get that all nice and centered. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and come in with our chain nose pliers. And go ahead and do my wraps. This is where the waist comes in, because I was doing like 3.5 inches. It was probably like 3.5 inches when I was doing these off camera. All right, then we'll go ahead and trim this one. And I am wire wrapping. I'm not putting any jump rings in between. I know that if you want to add dangles using the jump rings on this in between, my good friend Wendy Whitman would say that it does add a little bit more. The bracelet flows a little bit better, and she's 100% right. We talked about that during one of our lives, and I was like, yeah, you're right. I'll have to do that. So now let me just go ahead and check. And I probably could go ahead and just leave it there like so, because let me just go ahead and add. I'm going to add the jump ring. Oh, looks like I didn't really tuck in on this side either. So just give your ends just another quick look and see if they're all nice and tucked in. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this jump ring. I really love this kit. There's so many beads. I have so many beads still. Oh, and then so my loop got a little wonky. So if your loop gets a little wonky, like I said, you're working with dead soft wire. If it gets a little wonky, just go ahead and rotate it. All right, so let's go ahead and put on this guy. And I think I'm gonna need another little jump ring, because I think I'm gonna use the extender so we can have a little bit of a dangle. Okay, is that on there? All right, let me see. Let's bring out my fancy dandy little flimsy tool. It's all right, it's okay. Let's see what we have. Oh yeah, we have plenty. Okay, so we're not gonna do, I'm not gonna give you two demos here. You just get one. All right, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and do, now I do not like doing open jump rings on bracelets. However though, these jump rings are really, really good, very sturdy. And so I have no problem doing that. So this is gonna end up being a really quick video. There we go. Isn't that cute? So cute. I just love the colors. I love it with the bronze. I think it would look gorgeous with an antique copper too. And as you can see, I still have a lot left. And for my other project, I'm probably only going to be using maybe this many. We'll see. And so I might have a whole full strand left over for that too. So again, I know that this kit has free shipping. So please check out my other video, and also to go check out Danielle Wix's Etsy shop and get your own kit. Like I said, you get 3 full spools of colored wire from Softflex. And again, I really love the wire. It's a really good wire. I use it for a lot of projects. And do stay tuned. So please give this video a huge thumbs up if you like it. Comment. I love to see what everybody has to say. And subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And until next time, have a good one.